Did you know Saffron Walden had its first ever cinema screening in Central Hall more than 100 years ago in 1910? This was a time before there was sound in movies and Hollywood giants like Disney were yet to even be founded. In fact, Saffron Walden had two cinemas for the best part of the 20th century, one on the High Street and another on Station Street. But by the 1970s, both of these cinemas had closed their doors and Saffron Walden was deprived of a cinema for more than 30 years. This was until a new cinema, Saffron Screen, would end that drought when it opened 20 years ago in May 2006. Located in Saffron Walden County High School, this cinema would be different. It would be a not-for-profit community cinema made up of a combination of paid staff and generous and dedicated volunteers. In this video, we pay homage to our longest-serving volunteers by giving them the opportunity to speak about their experiences and reflections as Saffron Screen approaches its 20th anniversary. You'll even hear from our esteemed chairman, who originally started at Saffron Screen as a volunteer projectionist.
My name's Janet Strong.
My name's Becca Veach.
My name is Helen Larson.
I'm Ginny.
Hi, I'm Paul Wilmot. I'm the current chair of Saffron Screen and also the technical director.
I started volunteering when the cinema opened in 2006.
Since it opened in 2006.
May 2006, when we started.
20 years ago.
For 12 years.
I decided to volunteer because I'd recently moved in to live in Saffron Walden and didn't know many people. And I thought one of the best ways to know people is to volunteer and to make yourself part of the community.
I remember what it was like in Saffron Walden to have two cinemas when I was young. And when I heard that there was going to be a new cinema, or hopefully going to be a new cinema, I went along to a public meeting that was held. And there were sheets on every chair inviting people to be volunteers. So that's when I signed up.
When I was a teenager in Bristol, I was volunteering for a local charity which screened films on 16mm to local care homes. So it seemed a natural progression, although there's a sort of gap of about 30-40 years in between the two. And as it's a local community cinema, I thought it was a great opportunity.
I think my fondest memories are of doing the dementia-friendly screenings when people with dementia came along with their carers and watched the films, having had tea and biscuits beforehand. It was lovely.
We had some very special occasions at the cinema as well with some quite important people. One I remember very clearly was a comedian. Sadly I can't remember his name. It was a really important night for the cinema. I was duty manager and it just went fantastically well and I was really pleased.
I loved when we had the screen on the Common and ABBA, and you've got thousands of people there dancing, dressed up, having an absolute ball. And I think that it was a lot of work, and it was expensive, but it was a great, great success. I've really enjoyed some of the film festivals that we've run when we've had really quite different films.
Saffron Screen is very special. It's a community cinema. People love it. People love coming here. We have so many customers that say they won't go anywhere else because they find it such a friendly place. It's so welcoming.
There's a special atmosphere because the people that come to see the films are people often that you know or that you haven't seen for ages, and there's a really special atmosphere about that.
I think the volunteers are a big part of that, and I think volunteers are a big part of anything that's trying to keep going on a non-profit making way. And I think just generally people have always been very kind to each other while working there.
You can come on your own to Saffron Screen and it feels perfectly okay. And so that feeling of a cinema that belongs to us all is really important to me.
We've been through the pandemic and the cinemas survived when the cinemas at Bishop Stortford and at Royston have closed. We've been lucky to have donations from other people, which has kept us going as well.
I think it's been able to endure as long as it has because of the support from the local community. You ask people around Saffron Walden whether they think the cinema is an asset to the town, and almost everybody will say yes.
Well, I've been volunteering for 20 years. It's getting harder to bend down and pick up the popcorn at the end of the screenings, but I hope I can continue on for many years to come.
Well, obviously I hope that Saffron Screen goes on for another 20 years and we'll all be celebrating its 40th, maybe its 50th anniversary.
And I hope that the community continues to support it and to realise that without people coming, without people buying refreshments, without people passing on by word of mouth, that our cinema could be in jeopardy, and that if we want it, it's not just the volunteers, it's not just the directors, it's everybody else in town who needs to be behind it and loving it and working for it.
My hopes for Saffron Screen in the future is that it continues in the way that it has done over the last 20 years. We're there. Should we do that again?